Hi everyone, I'm Helen, the designer behind Sunflower Cottage Crochet, and today I would like to show you how to work the envelope border. Now the project I'm going to be showing you on actually is not a mosaic crochet project, which is what this border has traditionally been used for. So I'm pushing the boundaries a little bit and trying it out on different types of projects. You can see the one that we're going to be working on, if I step back, is the Diamonds placemat, which is a pattern that was designed specifically for edition 2 of the Crochet Gallery magazine. Once that's released, I'll pop a link in the description for you so you can check it out. But before we get to that, let's go and check out how to work the envelope border, and I think you'll be surprised at quite how easy it is, really. Okay, so just like with mosaic crochet in this tapestry project that I'm working on here, we have all of these ends that we need to deal with. So I don't know whether you can see, but I've started to knot them in groups of 2 because I've got 2 different colours running through each row. So what we're going to do is I'm going to work out where I was. There we go. And again, just like mosaic crochet, because I've knotted up to this point, I'm just moving those ones out of the way. We are going to just knot those together, try not to pull too tightly, and move them out of the way, and then grab the next 2 and do exactly the same. So what this will do is it'll secure the yarns in place, so that when we create our envelope border to hide all of these tails rather than sewing them all in, because you can see that's going to be a mighty job in itself, they won't come undone. So as I say, we're going to do that all the way down. So I'll work my way down this side of this placemat and I'll meet you when I get to the end. Okay, so you can see here that I've knotted all of my sections, so I'm confident that those knots aren't going to come out, and I've laid my placemat flat and put all of the edges so that they're pointing outwards. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to grab our scissors and we're going to cut about 1 inch or so up from the knots. You don't want too much because then it'll become difficult to handle when it comes to actually encasing them in the border. But you don't want them too short that you're going to undo your knots either. So about 1 inch or 2 is absolutely fine. And we're doing that all the way up the placemat. There you go, and you can see that that already is much more manageable. So we'll do that on the other side as well. Make sure we do all of our knots, 2 strands together, and knot them together so that the ends aren't going to come out, and then we're going to flatten it all out and trim those unruly edges back, and I'll meet you at the end once you've done that. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is create a slip stitch border all the way around the edge here. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to be working a slip stitch underneath the previous row. So we'll work a slip stitch into this stitch here rather than through the chains at the top, the front loop and the back loop. We're not going to be working through those. We need to come down a bit, which will then give us more structure and something firmer for the border to sit with, so it's not going to pull and it's not going to misshape your project. So basically what we need to do is start with a slip knot. Now it's always going to be easier to start with one of your edges that don't have your tassels on the side. So here I've worked a slip knot. So I'm just going to come in a couple of stitches and then pull up my slip knot, and then I'm going to work into just below where that next stitch is sitting, and I'll work my slip stitch, and then I'll do that into the next stitch. So basically, because I've worked single crochets, I'm working into the stitch before the last row. And we will do that all the way across. So if you can see, we'll come in just a smidge for this bit. So I'm going to insert my hook into the base where the next stitch is, yarn over, pull it through and pull it through. Now you want to keep consistent tension but not too tight, because then you'll just ruffle your project, but you don't want it too loose either, because then your border is going to look a little bit messy. So we'll do our slip stitch all the way across the top. Of that row. Now this side's really easy because you have the rows to work off. Once you get to the edges, that's when it becomes a little bit more tricky. So you can see that's creating a nice row for us, and this is what we'll be working into to attach our border. So if you continue to do that all the way to the end of this side, and I will meet you at the corner. Okay, so you can see here I've got a nice tidy row of slip stitches, and I've stopped one stitch before the end of the row. And then all I'm going to do is turn my work and start working down this side of my placemat. This side is where it's going to get trickier because you've got these ends in the way. So try, as a tip, to always keep your working yarn right at the back so you're not pulling it forward at all and getting it tangled up. And we're going to work, or we're going to continue to work our slip stitches down the side. So one stitch in from the edge, and we'll do that all the way down this side. You can see that, and we'll do that all the way down the side, and then we'll continue working along the bottom, and then we'll come back up the other side. So if you go all the way around with your slip stitches, and then I'll meet you when you get back to where you've started from. Okay, so now I've gone all the way around. I'm just going to make sure that none of my little ends have got themselves stuck in and come out the other side of the slip stitches that we've just done on the back. Now you can see them there. And it looks like I'm all good this time. Excellent. So then the next thing we need to do is turn our work around. Now we're going to be joining our border colour basically to any of these stitches. Okay, so I've got my slip stitch ready to go, and working on the back of our work, we're going to attach our yarn to any of these stitches around any side. And we will chain one. And then what we will do is we will single crochet in each slip stitch up to the corner, and in the corner we'll work 3 single crochets, and then turn our work and continue to work a slip stitch, a single crochet in each slip stitch down the other side, and we'll do that all the way around. So if I just single crochet, I'm just going to move my tail out of the way, single crochet. You can use the bigger stitches like double crochet, etc. at this point, but what I'm not going to do is use it for this particular project, because obviously the double crochet has bigger gaps between it, and you might be able to see some of these. They won't be quite as well hidden once you've finished your border. So for this particular pattern, we are just going to single crochet all the way around, and then I've got one more and my corner stitch. So in my corner I'm going to do 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3. You might want to pop a little stitch marker in the second of those. I'm just having a look to see if I can find one. My little trusty pot. And there is my stitch marker. And then we will single crochet down the next side. Again, try not to get your ends tangled in your stitches. And we'll go all the way down to the bottom, and then when we reach the bottom we'll work 3 single crochets in that corner stitch again. Oops, that one likes to be tangled. And we'll do that all the way around our placemat or our project. So I'll go around and I'll meet you once I get back to the beginning. Okay, so now I have my first row of single crochet completed, and I have slip stitched, if I can get all the tails off my hook, to that first stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeat this row twice more, so we'll end up with 3 rows of single crochets. Remember, when we reach the corner where our stitch markers are, we're going to put 3 single crochets in that one stitch. So just to start the row, we'll chain 1 and single crochet into that same stitch, and then single crochet all the way along that side until we reach the corner stitch. Oops, get that stitch marker out the way, and then when we get to the corner stitch we'll work 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and we'll pop the stitch marker in that second one, and then we'll work a single crochet in each stitch down the next side until we reach the corner, and again we'll work 3 single crochets. So we'll do that for another 2 rows, so we'll have 3 rows in total, and I'll meet you back here when you've done that. Okay, so I have my 3 rounds of single crochet. You can see I've got that all the way around. So then if we flip it over to the front side, this is what it'll look like. Now we're going to follow the same process, and we're going to work 3 rounds into the slip stitches on this side. So that's 3 rounds of single crochet all the way around. Remembering in those corner stitches we're going to work 3 single crochets. So again, I'll start with my slip knot. And I'll attach my yarn. And chain 1, and then we'll single crochet in each slip stitch around. And then when we get to that corner stitch, we'll work 3 single crochets, 2, 3, and we'll pop a stitch marker in the second one, so we know that that's the corner stitch moving forward. We'll turn our work, and then we'll work a single crochet in each stitch down. We'll repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the other end. Okay, so I've got my first round of single crochets done. You can see this is where my slip stitches were, which is the white, but to be fair, with this texture and the way this design worked out, it really doesn't detract or look silly, so I'm just going to leave it there. The white made it very easy for me to see the stitches. So now we need to do another 2 rounds of single crochet so that it mirrors what we did on the back. Remember, when we get to the corner stitch, we're going to do 3 single crochets and pop this stitch marker in the second stitch, just so we know that that's the corner stitch for the next round. So we're going to do that all the way around for another 2 rounds, and then once we get to the end, I will meet you there and show you how we join them together. Okay, so I've done 3 rounds on the front, and I've got 3 rounds on the back. So at the end of the 3rd round on the front, we do not fasten off. So I've just slip stitched to join, and then here what we need to do is to continue going around but actually attach the back border and the front border together. How you do that is entirely up to you. You could use slip stitches, you could crab stitch around if you wanted, anything really. You can let your imagination go wild. But for this pattern, what I'm going to do is just single crochet them together. Now first of all, I've just got to make sure that I've got the right stitch at the back. So you just literally go around, make sure you get the front border and the back border together and single crochet. Now the number of stitches on each border should be exactly the same because you used your slip stitches, which also helps keep a good count to make sure that they are the same. And also remember, when you get to that corner, we're going to do 3 single crochets in the corner stitch, just so that it maintains its shape. So let's see, I think this one is now my corner stitch. So there's 1, 2, 3. So you can see how that is attaching both sides together. Now this side is going to be the fiddly side because this is one of the sides with all of the ends. Now you can see why we've cut them quite short. So what we're going to do is just lie them quite flat. Hang on, that one's still a little bit long. So I'll trim that one. And we're going to just continue to single crochet in each stitch around. You just need to make sure that those ends are tucked in between the 2 borders, which can just take a minute for you to get right, but it doesn't take too long. It'll probably be quicker than the first round of working into the slip stitches. And really, once we've finished that, we'll fasten off and then we'll weave our last end that we'll have into the border, so it's hidden too, and then we'll be all finished. So I'll work my way around and I'll meet you back when I'm almost finished this round. And I'm at the end. I've just done my join, so I'll snip my yarn, fasten off, and then that end can be pushed inside and sewn. So the only thing left for me to do for this particular project is to block it. I do hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today. Please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.